Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your. The Warriors are looking to sign a big man to protect the rim and grab rebounds. Steven Adams could help the Warriors add size for next season. The Golden State Warriors need more offensive firepower if they expect to compete at the top of the Western Conference over the next couple of seasons. But a high-level scoring threat alongside Stephen Curry isn't the team's only need this offseason. Golden State's lack of size showed up against the Houston Rockets in Round 1 of the playoffs and again when squaring up with the Minnesota Timberwolves in Round 2. Both rebounding and interior defense were weaknesses for the Warriors in the playoffs, which the team is likely to look to address over the summer. Shams Charania of ESPN reported last week that Golden State will be extremely aggressive in the free agency and/or trade markets, though how much talent they can acquire is a topic for debate. Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks could be available, and his relationship with Curry could help the Warriors in trade discussions for the two-time MVP. Their 4 first-round draft picks, plus multiple second-round picks and first-round swaps along with young assets like Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga will also play key roles in any potential deal. But if Golden State can't bag the Bucks' big man, a free agent option they might pursue is Steven Adams of the Houston Rockets. James Homer of Warriors Talk on Sunday, May 18, advised Golden State to take a hard look at Adams this offseason. A familiar face to the Golden State Warriors, Adams has been on the receiving end of plenty of Curry-issued losses throughout his playoff career. However, it was rarely due to him being a detriment. While he's not a spacer and has some issues hitting his free throws, Adams is an experienced veteran who provides true center size and power that the Dubs haven't traditionally had. He profiles similarly to a more limited Andrew Bogut, a good screen setter and underrated passer who brings the right kind of toughness to a historically precision-focused Warriors team. The 6 feet 11 inches, 265-pound center is likely going to be a coveted player for a lot of contenders due to his top-tier offensive rebounding acumen, in addition to good durability prior to injury that kept him out of the entire 2023 to 2024 season. His numbers don't jump off the page, but he's the kind of player who has an impact on aspects of the game which aren't as trackable by analytics. Adams, who will play next season at 32 years old, is coming off of a 2-year contract worth $25 million total in Houston. Insider claims Giannis Antetokounmpo seemed interested in joining Stephen Curry but Warriors can't afford him. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been one of the most discussed players heading into the offseason. With the Bucks star being linked to several teams, NBA insider Logan Murdoch even claimed that the forward displayed an interest in joining Stephen Curry on the Golden State Warriors. However, the Warriors may face larger issues with affording the star. Murdoch highlighted Antetokounmpo's interest in joining the Warriors on Real Ones when he said, "There's a feeling that Giannis was very, very intrigued by the idea of one day being a teammate of Stephen Curry. There was at least a feeling that Giannis wanted to play with Steph. That was the feeling a lot of officials got during that soiree." Murdoch referred to the appearance the Bucks forward made at Curry's party recently. The meeting between the two sparked a lot of conversations involving a potential move, seeing Antetokounmpo join the Warriors. However, Murdoch also addressed that this would not be an easy trade to facilitate. "It doesn't seem, at this point, that the Golden State Warriors are in the Giannis sweepstakes," said the insider. "I don't think they will be, not because they don't want to, but more so because they just don't have the assets to get him." Any trade chatter involving Antetokounmpo at this point always comes with the implied aspect of the necessary assets and compensation for acquiring him. The Bucks star is one of the most dominant players in the league. This has earned him a sizable contract for all the right reasons. Currently valued at $54.1 million heading into the next season, with 3 years left on his contract, Antetokounmpo is a massive addition to any team's cap space. Unfortunately, the Warriors simply don't have the luxury to afford him, as they are already over the cap. Golden State currently has only a few assets worth trading, the prime piece being their young forward, Jonathan Kuminga. While it would be expected that the 22-year-old would be part of any deal involving Antetokounmpo, the remaining pieces may not be enough to pry the Greek away from Milwaukee, especially considering how limited their draft capital is. While Antetokounmpo may have shown an interest in teaming up with Curry, a move to the Warriors would also contradict some of his preferences with trade destinations in mind. Having expressed a desire to stay in the East, most teams that he was linked to in the West almost immediately lost some validity as potential landing spots. Regardless, some teams in the West show some possibility of being a trade destination, purely based on what they're willing to give up for the 30-year-old. The Houston Rockets, in particular, have shown an inclination to move big pieces around to facilitate a trade to acquire the Bucks forward. The future for Milwaukee and its star remains shrouded in mystery at this point. With a lot of events set to unfold, the offseason is poised to be an interesting one. Bad offense. Dwayne Wade says Jimmy Butler repeated for Warriors what he did in Miami Heat 2023 NBA Finals. The fallout from Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors being eliminated from the NBA playoffs continues. Miami Heat fans were not sad to see Jimmy Butler eliminated from the postseason after the way the superstar engineered his exit from the team mid-season. Butler forced a trade from the Heat after falling out with President Pat Riley, landing with the Golden State Warriors. The Miami Heat season crashed out in the first round of the playoffs, and Butler's Warriors joined them by being eliminated in their series with the Minnesota Timberwolves. During a livestream watching the game, Miami Heat legend Dwayne Wade called on Butler to step up. It did not happen. Now reflecting further on Butler's performance speaking on his podcast, Wade doubled down to emphasize how unimpressed he was with the Warriors star. Wade described how Butler was so reluctant to take over the game, and likened it to moments he has seen before with the Miami Heat, even going as far as to back Pat Riley's decision not to pay up with a big contract extension. He said, "I didn't like it, the way he just approached the game like, I know Jimmy is a pass-first guy. I know he's about getting his teammates to ball, and want to see them shine, but it's a point where this ain't working. You got to go. He won't look at the basket. I've seen this before. I've seen it in the Heat jersey and so you know, in the sense like when Pat come out, and Pat say, we won't give you an extension, it's not always because of injury. Sometimes I need to see what you're gonna do in every moment, not just in one moment. We saw Jimmy in the bubble. He was a dog." Warriors predicted to land All-Star center. Can the Golden State Warriors make one final championship run in the Steph Curry era? It's no secret the Warriors' big three of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green aren't getting any younger. While the 37-year-old Curry and 35-year-olds in Butler and Green are certainly not far from the end of their careers, the trio all remain more than capable of making a deep playoff run in 2025 to 2026. However, with a roster that showed it wasn't deep enough to deal with Curry going down in the playoffs and not much money or tradable assets to work with, improving the roster enough to a point where it can truly contend again will be tough for general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. According to ESPN's Bobby Marks, the Warriors could be major players for current Milwaukee Bucks center and California native Brook Lopez, who's set to hit free agency this summer. While the Warriors don't have much wiggle room when it comes to navigating the salary cap, the club does have the non-taxpayer MLE of a projected $14.1 million to potentially offer Lopez or any other notable free agent target. Lopez, 37, is set to become an unrestricted free agent when the new league year begins on Tuesday, July 1. The former All-Star big man averaged 13.0 points per game to go along with 5.0 rebounds per contest, while remaining a force on the defensive side of the court, blocking 1.9 shots per game, good enough for third in the NBA. Dwayne Wade calls out Warriors' Jimmy Butler after playoff struggles. The Golden State Warriors lost in the second round to the Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games, most of which had to be played without Stephen Curry, who was nursing an injury. In those 5 games, Jimmy Butler averaged 20.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 5.6 assists, flashing his dual talents, although it wasn't enough. Butler was inefficient from the floor and did not play with the aggression that both fans and his teammates were expecting. Dwayne Wade, arguably the greatest Miami Heat player of all time, called Butler out after the series and did not mince words about the performance. "I didn't like the way he just approached the game," Wade said on his podcast. Like, I know Jimmy is a pass-first guy. I know he's about getting his teammates to ball and wants to see them shine. But it's a point where you're getting 60 million. This ain't working. You got to go. He won't look at the basket. And I've seen this before. I've seen it in a Heat jersey. Wade gave his scathing review while holding his 2006 Finals MVP trophy, which is something Butler has never won. Wade is spot on. For $60 million a season, Butler should be able to take over and play at the level of a franchise player when needed. In the second-round series, Butler played like a glue guy or high-level role player, and he simply needs to be more. With 2 full seasons left on his extension, the Warriors will need to get their money's worth. Steph Curry gets honest on major Warriors trade. The Golden State Warriors held a 24-24 record after their January 31st to the Phoenix Suns. That had them at the 10th seed in the Western Conference in a tie with the Sacramento Kings, meaning they were far from guaranteed a play-in spot. Seeing this, the front office knew they had to make. While rumors floated around that a potential deal could have gone down to bring in Kevin Durant from the Suns, the Warriors ultimately landed on Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler. After he made his debut against the Chicago Bulls on February 8, the Warriors had a 23-7 record with Butler on the court. Reflecting back on the trade, Steph Curry shared his thoughts on what went down. Absolutely. There was a lot of chatter whether that was the right trade or not when it happened, Curry said, in terms of whether the Butler trade was above and beyond what was expected. You all know we were in Utah and the trade went down, like we were emotional in that period because we saw 3 guys who we loved, Wiggs being a part of our championship run, having to go. Even though Butler was a game changer during the regular season, he wasn't exactly playoff Jimmy during the postseason, averaging just 19.2 points per game on 44.7% from the field. But from the first game in Chicago to last night, it was a seamless fit, Curry added. Me and him complemented each other so well. He gave us so much belief that we could beat anybody any given night and make a legitimate run at climbing up the standings, and even having some playoff experience to look forward to. Curry also shared that he thinks it was a success and looks forward to next season with a full offseason under their belts together.